Hello booktube, hello book friends. Welcome back to my channel, and it's Tuesday. So we're going to do a tag video. I've been trying to catch up on, or at least get my head around the garbage fire that is my tags, or at least the tags that I've been tagged with. And I don't think I've had to go into my own videos and look to see if I've done this one. I don't think I have. So this is the Are TBRs Fun or Not tag. And I just kind of think it's a little bit appropriate given it's the beginning of the month and, you know, everybody's talking about what they're planning to read for June. I've done at least one video about how I've decided what I'm reading in June, so I figured it was appropriate. So this tag was created by Candy at the Great Literary Rabbit Hole, and I was tagged by Debs at Rain and Read Stuff. So thanks Candy and thanks Debs for creating and tagging me respectively. There are 12 questions and a tag other people question. So let's I've made some notes. I've got my usual notebook here, so I'm just gonna kind of, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading either the prompt or my answer. How many books are currently or normally on your TBR? I think it depends. Generally lots, thousands, literally thousands, particularly if you count all the books that are on my Kindle that haven't been read. So any book that hasn't been read is technically on my TBR. For the month of, what are we in, June? Sorry, my brain is still quite addled. I do apologise. For the month of June, I think I've got 6 books. I'll link to the video at the end where I did my unveiling of what I was going to, and I don't want to say too much because it's kind of the next question, for June. And because it's also, actually it's more than 6, because it's June on the Range and Book Trek as well. So I've got a couple of June on the Range books that I am going to be reading as part of Mark's Book Time with Elvis's book club, if I can get copies. And I've got a stack of books for Book Trek, which I'm kind of just feeding in slowly because it's 3 months. So Book Trek's all summer long. So yeah, I think there were 6 plus Book Trek and June on the Range and anything else that takes my fancy, really, because I'm still suffering from kind of grasshopper brain syndrome when it comes to reading, but it's getting better. So that brings me to, how do you choose TBR books? Have you ever gamified your TBR, e.g. prompt jars, TBR games? I have kind of gamified it for this month at least, possibly going forward, using tote bags. So I stashed away a whole load of my unread books into tote bags at the beginning of May, and I've been trying to forget what's in them somewhat successfully. And then at the beginning of each month, the plan is to pick a bag at random, and that will form the basis of my TBR. So there should be around 5 or 6 books in each bag, which is less books than I normally read, because that then allows me for, as in this month, like June on the Range and Book Trek and Buddy Reads and whatever else. It's a bit too early to say. It's only the 3rd of June, so it's a bit too early to say how that's going. It's going. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, for May, I kind of did mood reading May, which fell apart in the middle of the month for reasons that I've already talked about. I would kind of quite like to try that again, and just because it was working, just randomly picking books from, this stack on my filing cabinet to anything off my shelves that I just fancied reading. And I did a buddy read in May as well, and that all worked really well. So I kind of that worked for me, not actually having a stack of books that I was saying this is what I'm going to read in May or June or whatever. So yeah, we might have to try that again. Number 3, do you have reading areas of focus to choose books for? If yes, how many? I have a number of special projects that they're just personal projects. So I'm rereading books that I read at school. I'm very interested in conflict journalism, war poetry, war artists, things like that. Second World War in general as well. I've also got a number of series that I'm working my way through. So the Louise Penny Three Pines series is one that I'm working my way through. It's also a comfort read. Books you can see on the Dick Francis and Alistair MacLean and Stephen King. So there's quite a few. But obviously there are particular authors, particular books within those kind of categories, for want of a better term. Number 4, does a TBR help you focus? Sometimes. As I say, mood reading May. I think had I done it for the whole month, I probably would have had, depending on how big the books were, but assuming they were kind of an average 250, 300 page length, I probably would have read more books in May than any other month so far this year. But it kind of fell apart mid-month, but we'll try it again, I think. Seemed to work. Do you suffer from, this is number 5, do you suffer from the book noise of a TBR? Yes, definitely. If I've picked, even with my tote bags, I've found, and this is why I say it's the 3rd of June, so, big caveat, time will tell. I feel quite a lot of pressure that I've picked like 6 books, whatever it is, and I've said I'm going to read them. And I think maybe it's a booktube thing. Maybe it's accountability. You come on here and you record a video and you go, these are the books I'm going to read in this month. And then you do, obviously, like I do, a weekly reading week report. And, I don't know whether I don't expect anybody counting or cares. But if you come on and say, well, I've not read any of those 6 that I picked. I've read these 2 this week. I don't think anybody cares. But it's kind of like, well, I care. If I say I'm going to do something, it's an accountability thing. And it's I guess it's a personal stick that I kind of beat myself with. So if I say I'm going to read something, I will. If I don't enjoy it and I DNF it, that's a slightly different thing. So I will often say I'm going to read a book. I've picked those 6, for example, in my tote bag, and I'm kind of like, what if I get to one of them and I really don't like it? Well, you do what you normally do, you DNF it, and so yeah. But yes, I do suffer from the book noise of a TBR. They're calling me. 6, do you give your TBR a time limit, and does a TBR make you stress about reading quick enough? Again, this month, yes, with the tote bags. Normally, no. I mean, just if my TBR is whatever books are, like I say, on there, or there's stacks over there, and there are piles of books in this room that you can't see on camera, fortunately. So no, I don't think I do. Number 7, do you have rebellion syndrome, not wanting to read a book because you have put it on your TBR and now feel you have to read it. I think that comes back to what I was saying before about book noise. Yeah, if it's on my TBR, I kind of feel obliged to read it. Whereas if it's just sitting, this is my TBR. Don't get me wrong. There are books there that I would like to read. I think there's the new Stephen King is up there. I haven't got to it yet. I will get to it sometime, whenever. But there's a Stephen King that was in my tote bag, and I kind of feel more. I feel more obliged to read the Stephen King that was in my tote bag, but I want to read the newer book first, even though neither of them I have actually read before. Go figure. I don't. I don't get that. What's that about? 8. Do you keep books on your TBR until they are read, or swap the TBR around regularly? If I'm doing like I am this month, they stay until they're read. I think. I don't quite know what happens if I get to June 30th and I've got, I don't know, 4 books left out of the bag that I didn't read. Do they sit with the next 5 or 6, or do I not open the next bag? And I'm working this out as I go. I don't know. It's a short answer. I mean, anything, that is unread is in my TBR technically, so it just stays there until it's read. Number 9. Have you ever killed a book by having it on your TBR too long? I can't think of anything specifically. I think there have been books that I've had that have been sitting around for a long time, and kind of think either I need to read it or I need to give it to a charity shop or put it in the book exchange box or unhaul it in some way. But I can't think of anything specifically. And I've got books in the house that I've had for, I'm going to say decades, because I know I've got books that I've had for decades that I haven't read. Yeah. So no, yes and no. Kind of need to. I mean, I think there are. What was the Kilda book? I think I'm more likely to pass away having books unread. And I think something that my brother-in-law said to me once was that you've got more books in the house than you can possibly read before you die. It's probably true. Even if I were to kind of stop buying now, never buy another book again until I've read everything. I don't know that I could ever do that, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I think, and there are always books there are books I want to read that I don't own. But if I saw them in a charity shop, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll get that. 10. Do you have a tick list for your TBR to tick off books as you read them? No, I don't, but I record. I've got a very simple reading log that I just keep in a small notebook that is the title and the author and my personal. I just have, and it's personal to me. 5 stars. It's not a particularly scientific. It's how much did I enjoy a book. It's my personal thing, not anything to do with how anybody else ranks it, to be perfectly honest, because I think something that I think is 5 stars somebody else might hate, and it's a personal thing. I also record them on Goodreads, but that's kind of unreliable. And I've read one book this year that isn't on Goodreads yet because it was a beta read for an author. So I keep a record, and I keep a record on Goodreads. They're not necessarily identical at any point. And Goodreads seems to lose things as well, which is a bit frustrating. And then they magically reappear 3 months later. I just don't get it. What one change do you think would help your TBR be more fun? Number 11. I'm trying the tote bags. I got to keep reminding myself it's the 3rd of June, Alan. Get a grip. You don't have to read 6 books in 3 days. I think this is the thing. Whenever however I've chosen it, if I've got these are the books I'm going to read in June, or it can be anywhen. And I really think Mood Reading May, although it was cut short, was going so well. And I'm thinking maybe that's what I'm going to come back and do for July, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Wait and see. So number 12, final conclusion, TBRs, fun or not? I don't think they are. Not when you've actually got, having just a load of unread books, that's fantastic. There's nothing better. Having a stack of books that you've pulled out and said, these are the ones I'm going to read this month. No, that's not fun. Sorry, it's not. I don't know. Tag people. Because I'm so out of step with my tags, I'm not actually going to tag anybody. But if you fancy having a go at this one, feel free, fill your boots. I'll put the questions in the video description. I just don't know who's done it and who's not, and I can't even remember how long ago I was tagged. So it must have been somewhen in May, because that's when everything started to go a bit pear-shaped when it came to booktube and book tags. But if you fancy having a go, do. See if you agree with me or not. It's good to disagree as well. If you like having a regimented TBR, that's good too. Thank you to Candy for creating the tag. I did enjoy it. It was fun. And thanks, Debs, for tagging me. And thank you to you guys for watching. And I will speak to you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.